The wind moved through the cottonwoods along the creek, whispering like water over stones, and the shy rancher stood there with his hat in both hands, turning it slowly, as if the worn felt might tell him what to say. He had ridden since dawn with flour, coffee, and a small sack of beans tied behind his saddle, telling himself all the way that this was just another neighborly visit. Still, his heart thudded harder the closer he came to the small camp by the bend in the water. Smoke curled from a low fire. The Apache woman was kneeling beside it, feeding thin twigs into the glowing coals, her dark braid resting against her back. The late sun painted her in warm light. When she looked up and saw him, her eyes softened, and for a moment he forgot how to breathe. "You rode far," she said quietly. "Your horse carries dust like a blanket." He nodded, clearing his throat. "Long trail today." The words felt small, useless, but they were all he had. He dismounted, tied his horse, and set the sack near the fire. While he straightened, he realized he had been staring. He quickly dropped his eyes, heat rushing into his cheeks. He had never been good around people, and around her he was worse, like a boy again, all awkward hands and tangled thoughts. She rose to her feet, brushing ash from her skirt. The movement was simple, natural, yet it made his pulse jump. He hated himself for that, for noticing at all, and tried to fix his gaze on the creek instead. Silence stretched, filled only by the crackle of wood and the low murmur of water. She stepped closer, studying him with that calm, searching look that always made him feel seen. "You look like you're carrying something heavy inside," she said. "But you won't set it down." He swallowed. "Ain't nothing worth bothering you with." Her lips curved slightly, not mocking, just curious. She leaned in a little, her voice dropping to a whisper meant only for him. "Is your mind always on what's under my skirt?" The words hit him like a sudden clap of thunder. He jerked his head up, eyes wide, face burning. "No! I mean, I wouldn't, I swear I ain't thinking nothing like that." The words tumbled out of him, tangled and rushed. "I'm sorry if I looked wrong. I didn't mean no disrespect. I don't know where to put my eyes sometimes." For a heartbeat, fear tightened his chest. Then she laughed softly, a warm, low sound that melted the tension between them. "I was teasing you," she said. "You look like someone who's afraid of his own thoughts." He let out a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "I ain't afraid of my thoughts," he muttered, then sighed. "Maybe I am. Just don't want to hurt nobody with them." Her expression softened. "That means you already care." They moved to sit on a fallen log by the creek. The water slipped past, bright with reflected sky, carrying leaves and bits of foam along its slow path. The rancher rested his elbows on his knees, still holding his hat, while she folded her hands in her lap, listening. He began to speak, halting at first, then more freely. He talked about the ranch, about mending fences alone under wide skies, about winter nights when the wind howled like wolves and there was no voice inside the cabin but his own breathing. He admitted how silence sometimes felt peaceful, and sometimes felt like it might swallow him whole. She listened without interrupting, her gaze steady, as if every word mattered. Then she spoke of her own road. Of leaving places behind, of learning to walk without knowing where she would sleep, of losing faces she still saw in dreams. Her voice stayed calm, but the weight of it settled in his chest. He realized how small his loneliness seemed compared to the miles she had carried in her heart. "I thought being strong meant never needing anyone," she said at last. "But strength can also mean letting someone see you." He nodded slowly. "I ain't good at seeing folks. But I'm trying." The afternoon drifted on. The light softened. Birds flitted among the branches overhead. For a while they said nothing, just listened to the creek and the wind, sharing the quiet instead of hiding from it. When a chill touched the air, she pulled her shawl closer around her shoulders. Without thinking, he stood, slipped off his coat, and held it out to her. "You'll freeze sitting there," he said. She hesitated, then took it. Their fingers brushed, just for a second, but the contact sent a strange warmth through him, stronger than the coat ever could. She draped it around herself and looked up at him, eyes shining. "Thank you. You can keep it," he said quickly. "I got more back home." She smiled at that, then grew thoughtful. When I asked you that question before, she said softly, I wanted to know how you see me. Like something to take, or like someone to know. He met her gaze, steadier now than before. I don't want to take nothing from you. I just want to be here. With you. Learn who you are. The words were simple, but they felt true, and saying them eased something tight in his chest. She reached out and placed her hand over his. Slow. Gentle. Giving him time to pull away. He didn't. Her touch was warm and grounding, like holding on to the earth itself. Then stay, she said. Not forever. Just for now. They sat hand in hand as the sun sank lower, painting the water gold and red. The world seemed to slow around them, as if even the creek wanted to linger. When the sky finally darkened, he rose and went to his horse. Before mounting, he turned back, nerves fluttering again. I'll come by tomorrow, he said. If you don't mind? She smiled, still wrapped in his coat. I'll be here. He rode away under a sky fading into purple and stars, the rhythm of hooves steady beneath him. And as the campfire glow disappeared behind the trees, he realized his thoughts weren't on anything hidden or forbidden at all. They were on her laughter, her strength, and the simple hope of seeing her again by the creek when morning came.